Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. Well, Governor sent some stuff up for the budget. We're trying to handle affordable housing. You know what? I'm not going to make it a political show. I don't care if you like Ron or not. It is our current governor here in the state of Florida. Obviously, next year's an election year, so we'll find out if he continues to hold that spot or not, or if he even runs for that spot. I don't know. I'm not, again, trying to play political. I am talking about affordable housing, though. He did send a measure up to fully fund affordable housing. So fully fund things like the SHIP program. SHIP program we use, I see a lot of people use it here in our area. It's a down payment assistance program. He asked for 220 million or billion, or I never know if it's an M or a B in the front there. But I know he asked to fully fund it throughout the entire state. And what the SHIP program does is it gives down payment assistance to people who qualify. It puts a second lien, so it's not really free money. It kind of is, but it isn't. So it puts a second lien on the property. But then on that, there's no money due. You don't have to make any payments on it, right? And as long as you live there for 15 years, then it may or may not drop off. But if you sell it or refinance it within that 15 years, that second lien, more than likely, if you sell it, it has to be paid. If you refinance it, you may be able to get them to resubordinate, what they call resubordinate, meaning that new first lien you're getting from the mortgage as a refinance, then they can resubordinate and put that as a second. You may be able to get them to resubordinate. Sometimes they actually want you to pay that off again. So they refund it to help somebody else get a down payment assistance program. So it's a good program. I know that I'm a little jaded when it comes to the state and their affordable housing, because when we passed deed doc stamps a long time ago, the purpose of passing a deed doc stamps, and if you don't know what a deed doc stamp is, it's a tax. It's taxed on every real estate transaction. Every time you pass a property, not refinances, but purchases is a tax as it gets done. When we passed that law and created that tax, all of that is supposed to go to affordable housing. That's why us as realtors got behind it. But now 50% of those funds go to the general fund in Florida. And they just passed a law saying that's going to be inevitable now. That's going to be the rule. So I'm a little hesitant. But I do like the fact that we're trying to get some affordable housing, because let's face it, with the prices going up the way they have, some people, that's an affordability issue. We've got affordability issues in the state, and up here in the Panhandle, we're actually one of the more inexpensive areas to buy. You start buying stuff down in Central South Florida, even the stuff that you're not going to find a $100,000 property. Well, I mean, you may. I don't know if it's actually going to be livable or not, but you may. Here, at least, you could possibly find one, $150,000, and it'd actually be a nice area. So it's nice to see that they're actually sending that up for a proposal to get some more affordable housing. I think, like I said, the general fund, all of that should have been used for affordable housing, because that's why we passed the rule. But, hey, I'm trying to stay on the positive side. And the positive side is the governor is asking to fully fund affordable housing issues. And it's not just SHIP funds and stuff like that. There's also a program out there called SAIL. But he also had a whole list of environmental stuff that we really need to pay attention to here in the state. So, hey, I applaud him for doing that. Hopefully we'll get some of that passed, and we'll kind of go from there. But, again, I'm not going to make this a political show. And I know since it's the holiday season, you guys want me to get to straight the numbers so you can get the information and move on to what you're doing. So, inventory levels in our area. Here's a shocker. Seasonally, they drop. They dropped again. That was a little spoiler. Let's look at our numbers. Let's go. All right, if you've never seen the show, you don't know, I always start with this slide right here. It says you have between 6 and 7 months, you have what's called a neutral market. Anything greater than 7 months worth of inventory is considered a buyer's market. Anything less than 6 months considered a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say, anything greater than 9 months inventory is a hyper buyer's market, Anything greater than 9 months is a hyper buyer's market. Anything less than 3 months is a hyper seller's market. Let's start with Escambia County. And just like last week, pretty much everything is a hyper seller's market. Over here on the left is the prices. On the right is the month's inventory. That luxury seems to be sitting right at that same 3.3. So that's been the same for a couple of months now, or a couple of weeks, excuse me. Things are still selling for 100% to 101% of list price. The 450,000 to 500,000, you start to get 99%. I've brought this up the last couple of weeks because I want to make sure that buyers think, well, it's the holiday season, I can get a deal. No, just because Black Friday happened a couple of weeks ago at some retail stores doesn't mean it's actually happening here in real estate as well. So the biggest one in Escambia County, the most inventory, is that 250,000 to 300,000. There's 83 properties. Some of this is builders. If we saw last summer, if you go back and watch some of last summer stuff, the 300,000 to 350,000 was a sweet spot for builders. All right, and there is 67 properties on there. That seems to be coming down slightly, but it's also people selling their own homes, not new builds. So I don't know. Some of this is builders because they tried to come to a slightly lower price point, especially with interest rates starting to rise. Although I read this morning that interest rates have remained the same. The average right now is about 3.1. So I don't know. That's interesting. We see 83 properties in that price point. That's good, actually. I like to see some more inventory there. The 650,000 to 700,000, if you told me, hey, I want to buy something in that, well, there's 4. We have 4, and that's it. That's Escambia County. We'll make these shows quick. Let's jump over to Santa Rosa County. Santa Rosa County, everything is still a hyper sellers. Looks like we have 301 active, which I think that's about 10 or 15 less than last week. Again, part of this is seasonality. We've been fighting inventory problems all year. If you watch any episode I've talked about all year. Now, this has not always been the case. Go back and watch when I started this in 2019. There were hyper buyer market price points. It was one of the reasons I started this show was because I would hear agents say, hey, it's a seller's market all the way across the board. And that was a lie. Depends on the property. And when you get, let me bring this up. When you get here and you start looking at a neutral market or a buyer's market or a seller's market, when you separate them, there are different buying strategies and there are different selling strategies. So one of the reasons I started this show was to say, hey, there's different strategies. So if you're in that $500,000 to $550,000 in Santa Rosa County and it's a hyper buyer's market, you've got to do things different for your listing. You've got to negotiate differently. It's just been, 2020 and 2021, we've seen such an inventory crunch that sometimes I feel like this show is just a repeat. Hyper sellers, hyper sellers, hyper sellers, hyper sellers. It will not always be that way. I promise it won't always be that way. We're starting to see a little bit of change now, and I wonder how next year comes. As we're starting to see interest rates, and the Fed's talking about raising 3 times next year. So as you start to see interest rates rise, I don't know how we can continue to call it a seller's market. Prices won't continue to appreciate the way they've been appreciating. Everybody's been saying that. All the professionals have been saying that. I've been saying that for, a while now. Do I think it's going to be a depreciation? No, I don't. I don't think you're going to have a depreciation. I think you're going to not have 18, 17, 19% appreciation. Instead, you're going to have 4. But that means things are going to have to slow. So I think as things start to slow, sellers may panic slightly and start to come on the market. Hey, I want to take advantage of this market while it's still there. I get it. Makes sense. But anyways, here's Santa Rosa County and all of their numbers here. Again, I'm trying to make these a little shorter. So I'm just going to end with that. I do always end the show talking about our instant offer program. Instant offer program is real simple. Basically, if you call me up saying, hey, I need an instant offer, I need to sell this thing in 2 weeks, I've got a conglomerate of investors behind me that we can give you an offer immediately. Close in 2 weeks, as long as the title. I've had somebody call me yesterday saying, hey, I need to close tomorrow. I'm good. I'm not Hogwarts good, okay? I can't magically make title work appear. And I've seen some title issues pop up. There have been some things on title going back that we've had to get attorneys involved in. And there's nothing wrong with it. I know how to fix them. I can't really explain how to fix them on a show like this because I'm not a practicing attorney. And I do not practice without a license. I understand how to fix them. I've got really good attorney friends that know how to fix them and can fix them, and they fix them for me. And they do not charge an arm and a leg to do it. They obviously are paid what they're worth. Because have you seen what it takes to get into law school and then law school? Jeez. Anyways, so I've seen some title issues pop up, and I think we're going to see more and more of those because some of the stuff that's coming out on the market, people have held for generations. And that's fine, but you didn't know. I mean, there was one, they're not even on title. They don't even technically own it. Now, it was 2 generations back, and it was supposed to pass on. So they're supposed to, and nobody's challenging it, but you haven't gone through the proper steps. And if you haven't gone through the proper steps, technically you don't own it. So technically you can't sell it. So when someone comes to me and says, hey, I need to close tomorrow, I go, listen, I can close as fast as title work comes back and tells me I can close. But until then, I can't buy something that I'm not 100% sure you own. I believe you that you believe you own it. And, the one couple that I'm thinking of, they're like, are you kidding me? We've paid taxes on this thing for, 15 years. It was inherited. I get it. And they really do believe they own it. And they will. So properly, the channel is going to happen. But there's steps involved. So if I'd have bought it from them, well, then what would I have owned? Listen, that's like buying the Golden Gate Bridge or something. I don't own it. So if you don't own it, you can't sell it. So we can close on those instant offers as fast as title work can come back. Give us a day or two to review those and you're good. But under that instant offer program, the whole reason it's been successful is because I can give you a floor if you go to list. So, hey, I'm going to offer you $200,000 for the property. Let's put it on the market. See if we can get you $230,000. If we can get you $230,000, be mad at me. I just made you more money. I'll charge you for the marketing. That's it. You'll still put more money in your pocket. If you don't, you're going to get the $200,000. And I don't charge for the marketing at that point. Even though I've done the marketing, I don't charge the marketing for that point. So we kind of build it all the way in to where it works on both sides. So the folks that have actually called me on that have been very, very happy with that, especially if there's some work on the property, they don't want to do it, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, I'm trying to keep these shows very, very short this month. I'm trying to keep them short this month just because I know it's the holiday month and you've got other things to do. There's your numbers for the week. Go enjoy your week. We'll talk to you later.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?